That's a good movie. Don't and
Good
then
movie.
Feel the light shining in the dark of night. Remember what we forgot. I know
I
it's
will-
a long shot.
I will get lit to those songs. I will go
Dude.
crazy.
That's good.
If Drop That plays at my wedding, I will be dropping that.
I will be dropping that. Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, where nerds talk about nerdy things. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glass. And if you've been following us, you know that these last few weeks, our other regular host, Nick, is playing Tears of the Kingdom in his cave. And so it was his most anticipated game for years. And he said, hey, when Tears of the Kingdom comes out, I'm not going to be there. And I said, oh, haha. And I haven't heard from him since. So if anyone sees him on the street or you find the cave or whatever, please let us know and call the number on your screen so that we can find him and make sure he gets home safely. Until then, I'm bringing on my special guests from the show. If you're watching on the video, you can tell we have a little bit of a different setup today. We've only done one other in-person podcast, and that was live from Hollywood Studios. And so here I am in my bedroom with my good friend, colleague, business relationship, Mr. Gavin Kopko. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? Hi, I'm Gavin. I'm his college roommate. He forgot to tell you that.
Right.
But, yeah, so I'm here. He needed another host, and he was like, dude, you want to do this? I was like, sure. Sounds great. So we're going to be talking about a very special thing today, and I personally love it because I'm a big music guy.
So I was going through my list of people of who to call for podcasts.
Naturally.
And I landed on Colin and Gavin. And Colin was such a big movie and video game nerd that I thought there is he fit right in. Unparalleled. He should have his own podcast. Like, Colin was
so true.
it.
So true.
And so I thought, like, I've never been in a situation where someone says Gavin perform and he didn't. And didn't do incredibly well. And so I thought, podcast, Gavin perform. But I thought, what do we do? And I knew Gavin loves music.
I do love music, indeed.
The only thing he talks about.
I don't talk about much
And
else.
I'm a fan, and we'll get to that in a second. So here we are giving our top 5 underrated movie soundtracks. Now, we'll get to that here in just a minute. But I want to ask, how was your week?
Dude, it's been crazy. I mean, to be honest, there's been this one person that won't text me back, but we're just not going to drop any names.
Oh.
It's not a good look. I'll tell you that much.
Look.
And then had some meetings with some people. I'm like
Just money moves.
getting paid to produce now. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, got a session later today.
Yeah.
Working. I got an A on my World Lit.
Let's
Just saying. I
lit.
mean... Yeah, lit. So it's this week and today has been pretty great.
I'm glad.
Just
I'm
making
glad.
them moves, and this week is even better. But I'll let you take it from here.
Yes. Well, a little bit to get the audience comfortable with
Right.
Gavin. Does music production, and I never met him before going to college.
I had no idea who this nerd was.
No idea. And so I met Gavin the day that he moved into the same place as me. And
Yep.
so we were placed together in a dorm, and I was like, oh, shoot. I was so scared because I never, like, living with someone you've never met is so scary.
Yeah.
But also the American college system is like, what? That's so normal. What are you talking about?
It's so much fun.
So it's kind of hilarious. But I knew that this was someone I wanted to be friends with when I heard his entire family singing Great Balls of Fire in his bedroom when moving in.
moved in. I moved my piano in, and my mom goes, Gav, play something. And I started playing Great Balls of Fire, and my whole family... very musical family, and so we all started singing it, and I was like, man, this is so much fun. And I'm sure Jackson and the rest of my roommates were like, who is this guy?
Who is this goober? And so yeah, that's a little bit producing, doing a good job,
Yeah.
singing, playing piano, doing good stuff.
Yeah.
And so this week we had a bit of a really cool announcement, is that we have an EP coming out
EP coming
June
out
9th.
June 9th, everybody.
June 9th on all streaming platforms, called Freshman Year Part 1.
Tell your mom, tell your brother, tell your
Man.
cousin, tell that one aunt you don't want to talk to.
Hey, little icebreaker for that aunt you don't want to talk to.
I'm
Let
just
me
saying.
Let me tell you. Yeah, it's just like 5 songs as a little diary of our first semester together.
Yeah, kind of just running through all of our thoughts and emotions throughout all of freshman year, first semester freshman year.
Right.
Yeah, it's a series in a bunch of different projects. So stay tuned for that.
Stay
And
tuned. More is coming June 9th.
I'm sure he'll have our Instagrams in the bio
Yep.
or something like that. So go
Yep.
there and you'll find more information
Yes.
about that.
You can follow me at the Glass Studios on Instagram.
Yeah.
But you should also follow the Nerdiest Podcast on Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast.
You should-
and on YouTube.
You should
at
also
the Nerdiest
follow
Podcast.
at Gavin_Kopko. Shameless
Yeah.
plug right
Shameless plug. Gavin's on Instagram, Gavin _ Kopko.
Underscore
Kopko. Nerdiest Podcast on YouTube, the Nerdiest Podcast. Great original content. It's coming out there. And yeah, EP June 9th.
Dude, I'm hyped.
We're so excited.
It's pretty crazy. We're filming this on Friday technically, and we just announced it.
Like 2 hours
like 2
ago.
hours ago. And I got the greatest text from him in all caps. He said, "It's out." What? He was like, it was all caps. Here, wait, what did you say? It
Yeah.
was.
I think
it was
it's posted.
It was. Oh my gosh, it's posted. Oh my gosh. It was so funny.
What was also really funny is I was listening to music really loud and didn't hear my timer go off to post at the peak time.
Yeah.
And so I set
I
it
saw
for
that.
11:58, and so that I could just be ready at noon. And I was like my song ended, and I was like, that was great. And then I hear this alarm going off, and I forgot I set the alarm. And I thought it was time to like get my laundry or something, because I always set alarms for like when the dryer's done. But I was like, oh shoot, I gotta post for the EP.
It's time to post.
I gotta announce an EP, brother. So I did that, and yeah, June 9th, Freshman Year Part 1.
Here we are now.
Under Jackson Glass, GLAS on Spotify, Apple Music,
Yeah,
everywhere. So that's what's up. I've just been thinking.
What have you been thinking?
You know, I think, and this is based on an experience, multiple experiences throughout the last year, this is a lesson to all, and it's something I need to get better at. It's, if you want to do stuff with people, text them back.
It is so true.
For the love
Oh
of
my
all that
gosh.
is good and holy. I don't know if you're trying to go see a movie. I don't know if you're trying to get dinner. I don't know what. Like, if you want to get together and do something, text people back. And
Okay, yes.
so
I am so serious about this thing, because there's 2 people, one person who wants me to produce for this person, and then another person who wants me to work with this person, and they asked me, and I'm just like, yes, when can you meet? And then they tell me, and then I'm like, all right, where do you want to meet? And then they're like,
dead silence. So it's just, and if you've done this to me, I'm not attacking you. I'm really not.
I'm not mad.
Like,
I'm just
I don't
disappointed.
care. I'm not mad. If you feel personally attacked by this, by me personally, please don't. I'm not here to cause harm. I'm not here to be mean. I'm just saying, the world would get so much more done if we replied to our text messages.
what? Another thing is,
Please.
replying quickly is not something to be ashamed of.
Right. You can reply quickly.
You can reply quickly, and this society has said replying quickly is like flirtatious or whatever.
Right.
It's not. It's just, oh, I saw this text, I'm going to answer this person.
Yeah. Like, the point of texting is to have that
Quick communication.
Quick communication. So do it freaking quick. Come on. Oh,
Anyways.
guys. Anyway, just be better, you know?
Amen.
That's all I'm
Amen.
saying. Be better. Little bit of news coming out this week from the movie scene is the live action Little Mermaid is coming out this week. And,
Yes.
you know, I'm pretty sure, yes, it will be out by the time this episode is out. I don't know if I want to see it, but
the thing is, I grew up on obviously the main one, the OG one. And I don't think anything can top that. Like, no offense to the creators, whoever's creating this, like the new one, I'm sure it's going to be great. Like, props to you for being able to get Disney to get you to make a new thing. But make it your own instead of trying to replicate everything that the Little Mermaid did. Like, you could even make a new song. It's okay.
What?
Make new things.
Yeah, I think my biggest, and this is my issue with every live action remake ever, is that it implies that there is something wrong with the animated version.
So true.
That we need to fix. When in reality, the animated version will probably always be the best version. And we need to stop looking at animation as a medium of saying, this is for children, this is bad, this is wrong. Which makes no freaking sense to me, because I was talking to my mom and she was like, oh, I really want to go see The Little Mermaid live action because that's the movie I grew up on. And I'm like, okay, well, don't get mad and say, oh, let's make a live action because animation is for kids, and then make a live action movie for kids. When it makes no sense to me, because the main audience that wants to see these movies are the adults.
The kids that grew up on them.
The kids that grew up on it. And so, like, they're targeting, like, college students and younger, when it's like, understand that's not where your audience is, because they all kind of agree that the animated version is better.
So true.
And just generally, like, I think the music is going to be incredible. I truly do.
Music, especially with the technology we have nowadays, can only be better unless the person that is behind the chair sucks.
Right. Yes.
Which is very possible.
That is possible.
But if you're hired by Disney, I don't think you're going to suck.
Right. Which, I don't know, you'd be surprised. But
the one thing that I will say, though, is the one live remake that I think took the story and only made it better. They honored the story, but they also added to it, was the live action Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
That is so true.
It was incredibly done. Evermore, they wrote an original for it. Evermore, that was one of my audition songs for a theater. It was incredible. It was amazing.
Forevermore.
Evermore. And it's great. The writing's incredible, and it's just the way that they weaved in and out the different like musical motives throughout the songs that are normally show up in the original Beauty and the Beast, and then weaved it into the songs that they made themselves.
Right.
And so they took something great and used that greatness to make something great of their own, still honoring the greatness. Just do that.
Yeah,
Why can't I work for Disney, huh?
I mean,
I want to work for Disney.
Disney, if you're listening, they're not listening. But I don't know. I was very much like, I'm conflicted, because part of me wants to say, how big of a flop can this be, so that Disney knows we don't want live action remakes. So I'm not going to give any of my money to go see it, to see how hard it'll flop. Another part of me is like, I kind of want to see it.
I want to see it just in case it's like the Beauty and the Beast type thing, where they like took it and made it incredible.
Right.
But if they don't do that, I'm gonna let some people to go watch it, and then I'm gonna ask them what they thought,
Right.
and then if it's not worth it, I'm gonna wait till it comes out on Disney Plus, and boom, I'll watch it.
Booyah.
I'll watch it with my little sister. It'll be great.
Booyah. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, if we were saying, yes, we're making this movie to introduce it to a younger audience, I would understand. But why not just show them the original movie?
Literally.
So it's on
show
Disney
them
Plus.
the original.
It's on Disney Plus. So other movie news
Anyways.
is that the live action, of course it's friggin' live action, idiot. The 4th Indiana Jones movie is coming out, and it's live action, believe it or not.
I'm so excited.
I
know some people aren't excited, but I'm excited. Okay?
So
I'm excited.
You know, is it live action if it's just Harrison Ford de-aged the whole time?
I'm not gonna lie, it's Harrison Ford. It's Harrison Ford. He is the coolest dude ever.
He will make or break that movie.
That's so true.
So if Harrison Ford is all in, which it seems like he's all in, it's gonna be like peak. But the early reviews are saying it's not very good.
See, I'll take that. I will take that with a grain of salt because
Mhm.
everybody's gonna criticize something that is the 4th movie in a series or whatever.
Right.
But I'm still gonna watch it because the first few Indiana Joneses are fantastic, and I thoroughly enjoy them. Like
Even the Crystal Skull?
right or Raiders of the Lost.
Even the Crystal Skull?
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Oh.
The thing is, I'm not watching it only for just because Indiana Jones is like the thing. Me being the music guy, John Williams scored the whole thing, dude.
That's the Indiana Jones soundtrack goes hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
Okay, ready? I want you guys to think about the Indiana Jones soundtrack. Ready? Boom. See? Yes, you can think about it. That is the most iconic thing ever.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, that
I
makes
get
sense.
quite.
That's okay. I think
I don't know what I'm saying.
and this is John Williams' last soundtrack.
He's retiring after this soundtrack,
The
which
Dial
I
of
think is so
Destiny.
great. It's all about the narrative. He's like finishing out his movies and finishing out what he started
Right.
with it. And then he's like, all right, guys, see you later.
I just wish
I
he
love
could
it.
do it on a good movie. Because he said that The Rise of Skywalker was going to be his last.
That's why I think he did it again.
And then
'cause
he
said
had to
it was
came
gonna.
back, he's
I
like,
think he wants it to be on a good movie.
It's got to be on a good movie. So maybe we'll see another soundtrack from him.
I mean,
Who's to
if
say?
it absolutely flops and it keeps being bad every single time it's a okay. First off, his scores are never bad.
No, they're never bad. He's
But
always the best
The
part.
movie may be bad, but his scores are amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, if it flops and he comes back again for another movie,
Oh no.
oh no, more good
darn.
music.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Indiana Jones guy, and I've only seen the first one.
I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones Legos.
The Indiana Jones Legos go
They
really
are the
hard.
coolest
though.
thing ever. I thought I was the coolest dude when I got him and his whip and stuff like that, and like the little car with the sidecar
Yes.
thing. It was
Oh
so
my
fun.
gosh.
So much
Lego
fun.
Indiana Jones for the Xbox 360 was what I spent a lot of my childhood playing.
That and
So
Lego Star Wars.
That is my biggest consumption of Indiana Jones is the Lego game, which is the most ideal way to consume a story.
Dun, dun, dun,
Um,
dun, dun, dun.
But I don't know. I think I'm going to go see it, and I'm back and forth because there is no Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford.
So true.
But I really wonder if it would have been better to reboot it similar to James Bond with just a different guy.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm so back and forth.
I honestly don't think so. I think nobody can replace the role of Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, just because he is so iconic. That's why I think people didn't like the Han Solo.
Yeah.
Because
No, that makes sense.
Because nobody looks or acts like Harrison Ford.
That's interesting. I have to meditate on that one.
Meditate.
I don't know. I think maybe we should have just let Indiana Jones rest. Maybe I need to see it. I need to see it to know.
We'll see.
There
We'll
are
see.
critics saying it's bad, but these are the same critics that said the Mario movie was bad.
And that thing was amazing.
And that's a great movie.
And I personally think Peaches should win a Grammy.
Amen. It is eligible.
Peaches,
It's eligible for a Grammy.
It's
It
incredible.
is.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. All right. Before we transition into our main topic for today's episode, I would like to say that if you were with us live the other night for Monopoly Live, thank you for joining us. It was so much fun. I pulled Nick out of his cave for like 3 hours. We found him and he hopped on Monopoly. We played on the YouTube Live for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
and
that
it
was a lot
so
of fun to
much
watch.
fun. Some highlights from that stream will be going up at some point. I have a lot of footage to edit down to like 10 minutes. So highlights will be up, but thank you for joining if you were there. We had such a good time, and we would like to do this somewhat consistently. And so if you missed this one, there's plenty of opportunities to come back. Coming soon. We're going to play other games. We want to play Minecraft. We want to play Jeopardy. We want to play Wheel of Fortune. And I think it'd be so much fun. So it's just a good way to interact with the community. So thank you for joining us if you were there. And
Legends.
The highlights will be up soon. So thank you very much. I would like to transition into our main topic for today and go down our list for our most underrated soundtracks. Now I need to give a little rubric for a soundtrack.
That's very true.
So
Underrated soundtrack.
So we were thinking about this, and something like Guardians of the Galaxy
Doesn't count.
So if you want to talk about the original score for Guardians of the Galaxy, go for it. But if you want to talk like Hooked on a Feeling, Fool Around and Fell in Love, the Pina Colada song, like
Redbone didn't score Guardians of the Galaxy.
Those, or like,
no offense to Redbone, I love you.
The Mamma Mia soundtrack doesn't count because those are ABBA songs that they re-recorded for the movie, or like that, or like something
Curious
like
George.
Something like La La Land would technically count because it was original for the movie.
There are original scores of it, yes.
But we were thinking of underrated. So something,
I'm pretty sure everybody knows La La Land.
Something originally created for a movie that doesn't get the respect it deserves.
True.
That is the rubric, and this isn't.
Has to be a score too.
Has to be a score. So
I don't know what a score is. Just go look it up.
I think that what was I trying to say? Lord have mercy. Oh, there's plenty of movies. If you think we missed one or whatever, leave a comment, send a DM, email. There'll be a poll in the Spotify description. I'm sure Nick will put it there whenever we find him. Please come home. We miss you. But yeah, I had a lot of options, and I had to kind of pick 5, and I'm sure my top 5 will change in the future.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm essentially...
There's only more to be made.
This is 5 for now. We may come back later.
Yeah.
Hit me with a number 5.
Number 5, I based it off of most underrated. Most like underrated.
Yeah.
And so number 5 is a bit more well known. I'm going to go with the Up soundtrack. Because Married Life is very famous. Everybody knows that one. But the thing is, it's the oh my goodness. Stuff We Did is basically a part 2 to Married Life, and it's so much more somber, so sober. It's just like, man, it doesn't even communicate anything with lyrics, but it's just like, I miss the stuff we did. And it's incredible. Also, the rest of the soundtrack, like when they're getting chased by the massive bird, it's a banger. And it's also made by Michael Giacchino, who did Incredibles.
Yes.
And that is not an underrated soundtrack. Everybody loves that. So Stuff We Did from that one is fantastic. Also, obviously Married Life, but also, one second, ready?
Come on.
He Got the Bird.
Is amazing.
Bird. I need you guys to go listen to that. All right.
He got the bird.
The one where he captures the bird. It's obviously the scene for it, but it's incredible. It is fantastic. All of the whole soundtrack is fantastic. So that's my number 5.
Wow.
Is Up.
Up.
It's also one of my all-time favorite movies.
That fascinates me because when I think of Up, my first thought is not underrated.
True, but is your first thought the music?
No. Well, yes, Married Life is.
Exactly.
But the rest of the songs are not.
The rest of the songs.
And so the entire soundtrack as a whole could be underrated.
Just because there's one good song on an album doesn't mean it's a great album, but it is a good album. It's a great soundtrack.
True. That's interesting. Okay.
So yeah, that's my number 5.
What's your number 5? All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Number 5. I'm going to hit you with not only an underrated soundtrack, but an underrated movie.
Oh, boy.
That I think deserves some respect. This is the soundtrack to Dan in Real Life on Disney Plus. Highly recommend. Steve Carell.
Good movie.
Plays a dad with 3 daughters, and he falls in love with this girl on vacation who he then finds out is his brother's fiance. And so it's super... I really like Dan in Real Life because it's so realistic.
Yeah.
In the sense of like it's very real. It's shot in like a cabin in the woods. Like it's super kind of calm, and like the lighting is so, it's not like it doesn't look like a movie. It looks like I'm there, and I really appreciate that.
And I'm sure only the music just adds to it.
And the music adds.
Adds.
So the soundtrack by Sondre Lerche? Sondre Lerche? So, sorry, but Sondre Lerche, amazing soundtrack. My favorite song is Modern Nature. Goes so hard. There's also a song on there called Hell No, which I think is really funny. The Dan and Marie final theme is so good. The whole movie is just incredible. The whole movie is really good.
I mean, it's Steve Carell.
It's Steve Carell. But it's not like Michael Scott goofy Steve Carell. It's like somber dad Steve Carell.
And I love that.
And I think, honestly, I usually like Steve Carell in his more somber roles.
I think because of everybody has the thought of Michael in their head whenever they see Steve Carell, and then he does a different type of role, everybody's like, it hits you even harder because it's like seeing Michael sad.
Right. Because of The Office, we've fallen in love with goofy, funny Michael Scott.
Right.
And so you immediately love him.
Yeah, you see him in a movie and you're like,
right.
Aw, I love him.
Oh, I love Steve Carell. Right.
Yeah.
Gosh. So that's my number 5 is Dan in Real Life. Highly recommend watching it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Very good. I watched it when I had the flu.
This dude was sick
year.
all last semester.
I was on my deathbed.
I for real was prepared to like bring the news to his family.
I was on my deathbed for like most of last year. And I don't know why. I would just randomly would get colds, the flu, the like cough, just random. Did I ever get COVID? I don't think I got COVID.
I don't think you had COVID, but I do remember you texting me and I thought you said you had COVID, flu, strep, and something like a cancer. And he was like, I tested negative for all of these. And I read, I tested positive for COVID, flu, strep, and like stage 4 cancer or something like that. And I was like, is my roommate about to die?
Yeah. I'm okay now.
He's
I
good.
tested negative for all those things. He thought I said positive. And so if I tested positive for COVID, strep, flu,
I ran back to the room and he was just
day,
on the couch and I was like, oh no.
If I did all that if I tested positive for all that at the same time, I'd be writing my will.
Yeah.
I would just be like, it's over. I think that's when I had the worst migraine of my life.
Yeah.
And I ended up watching Ratatouille and Monsters Inc. in one day.
Yeah.
And at one point after Monsters Inc., I had a bowl of Count Chocula cereal.
Bowl of cereal.
And I was feeling so locked up. It was like a Saturday. And so I stepped outside and watched the sunset. And so I was in my PJs and Crocs, watching the sunset. I couldn't breathe out of my nose. I ended up going on a walk just to do something because I had been a vegetable for 10 hours. So yeah, that's and then at one point I was sick and I watched Dan in Real Life.
Dan in Real
That's
Life.
when I had to come home. I had the
Dude,
flu and I
yeah.
had to come home. And then everyone kept bringing me stuff.
Yep.
Someone brought me their Mario Party cartridge.
Anyways.
Oh, that's good. Number 4.
Number 4 is a Grammy and Oscar winner.
Ooh.
The soundtrack of 1917.
Shut up.
That is an insanely good
That
soundtrack.
is so good.
It's a one-shot movie.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, besides one break, I think, in it. When he
cut-
gets knocked out. It's when he gets knocked out.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, spoilers, but watch it.
He gets knocked out in a war movie?
It's a great movie. 1917, and specifically the song 1600 Men. So good.
Interesting.
The gravity of the movie anyways, of what all that meant in World War I and everything, just what's happening, and then just the movie behind it. I mean, not the movie, the music behind it. It's by Thomas Newman, fantastic composer. He just takes it and adds everything to it. And what's so cool is that if you listen to it all the way through, every single song fades into itself.
Just like
the movie. And it's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah. I've only seen 1917 once.
I've watched it twice.
I haven't thought about the soundtrack in a long
about the soundtrack.
time.
It's amazing.
So yeah, 1917 cuts somewhat frequently.
Yeah.
But they hide it very well.
It's
kind of an editing marvel in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really only in like, you know, like when you're scrolling Instagram, you get like one of those like, you get like pumped up like edits, and you have like the Hacksaw Ridge in the 1917 and stuff like that. And it's like one more, and it's like that type of stuff. And you're just like, yes, I need to start working out, and you start doing everything. And then it's like the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack. Da, 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 da.
Oh.
Like that's what 1917's used, but they need to use the soundtrack because the 1917 soundtrack, it takes the gravity of war and makes it even more.
Makes it audible.
It makes it incredible. So that's my number 4. It would have been up on my list, but my next 3 are pretty good.
Okay, I never thought about 1917 for the soundtrack because I've only watched it once. It's on my list to rewatch.
Yeah.
But my note about 1917 is that it is underappreciated as for its editing. Because the best editing in a movie is the one you don't notice. And so 1917, pretty convincingly looking like a one-shot movie, is one of the most impressive things I've seen in a movie. So that's good. That's
my number 4.
Number 4 for me, this is the one that might be on your list.
I don't know.
If it's on your list, we can talk about it together.
Okay, all right.
I really hope it's not. I'm not stealing like your number 1 or something.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 4, Over the Hedge.
Nope, not on my list. It's my favorite movie, but it's not on my list.
Really?
I think it's because it's never been underrated in my head because I love it. Because okay, I agree that people need to talk about it more, but I always talk about it with myself. And so I mean, consistently, it's a great movie, but I'll let you explain why it's your number 4.
All right. So between Rupert Gregson Williams and Ben Folds,
Ben Folds is incredible.
Ben Folds is incredible.
Incredible.
I used to watch this movie in our car. And the movies I've seen the most in my life are the ones that we had in our car because it would just always be on no matter how far we were driving. And so if you look at some of the songs, like the score is really good. Like the song Let's Call It Steve is like kind of fun. You're like, ooh, okay. Mm-hmm. Hammer Time, dude, Play, ? The song goes hard. All right, that's a good song.
Hard.
But the Ben Folds songs are the ones that I really want to highlight.
Yeah.
The Family of Me makes me cry every time.
I would watch that right now and I would cry. I cry every single time I see it.
Let's stop and watch.
All right, let's go.
Over the Hedge. Goodbye. Also, underrated song from this underrated soundtrack is Lost in the Supermarket. That's a good song. Also, but my personal favorite is Still. And
favorite one in the soundtrack.
I gotta pull up song. If the impression that I have the answers for everything.
Let's just take a second. Oh man.
Dude, Still
incredible.
Why was this written for Over the Hedge?
Because it's one of the best movies of our time.
Because it was like
it is I wholly believe with my whole heart that this is one of the best movies of our time. It deserves a Grammy, an Oscar, a Tony, whatever they get Tonys for. What do they get Tonys for?
For theater.
Oh.
The Tony is for theater. Over the Hedge on Broadway. It's happening.
Dude. We need to do that.
Rockin' the Suburb was my favorite.
Good.
But as I was looking at it, I remembered Still existed.
Yep.
And that's my favorite. So, Over the Hedge, underrated, in my opinion.
Okay.
Hit me with a number 3.
Number 3 is one that I honestly was scared that you might have put on this one because you've talked about this one before.
Okay.
Ready Player One.
I've never seen Ready Player One.
You've never seen...
I've never seen Ready Player One.
It's an Alan Silvestri.
Okay.
Alan Silvestri did Avengers.
Wow. I mean, Ready Player One is like a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah,
like, it's like up there.
It's fantastic.
Interesting.
It's the whole time. It's the thing is, what's so crazy about it is you're in a game the whole time, but the whole score is so organic, but also has little electronic elements in it that adds to it. So it's like the reason it's organic and it adds to the movie is because even though you know you're in a game, it feels like you're in real. It feels like you're in real life.
That's crazy.
Because it's just amazing. Obviously, amazing Alan Silvestri strings.
Right.
Plus electronic, like you know, like sorry,
the electronic.
but like it's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, Ready Player One I think is incredible. Listen to Ready Player One main title. Amazing. Also The Oasis. The Oasis is the best one.
Ready Player One.
Why did you never watch that?
I kind of wanted to see it when it was in theaters, and
I saw it in theaters with one of my friends,
and we just didn't.
Yeah, it was so good.
I know my dad has seen it, and he says it's good. I just never. When it came out, I was close-ish to the age bracket that the book was meant for.
Okay.
And so a lot of people told me, they were like, "You need to read the book first." And so someone telling me,
I didn't even know there was a book.
Someone telling me to read the book first when a movie comes out makes me want to watch the movie 100 times less. Because I'm just going to get berated for saying I like the movie.
Okay.
And so I'm just now finishing Harry Potter because I've read some of the books and then stopped. And now I just get attacked.
Well, sorry to everybody who read Ready Player One and is like, you haven't read the book. I apologize.
You didn't know the book existed.
I'm sorry, Mom. My mom's one of those people. Read the book first.
You need to read the book first. Well,
I love you, Mom.
That was our Harry Potter rule. Was my mom said you can either move out or read the books.
That's the rule with my little sister's getting so into Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she will send me Harry Potter memes. I've never really been a Harry Potter guy, so I don't understand anything. But I'm like, that's hilarious. And so
reacted, laughed to your message.
Exactly. The haha, you know.
Yeah.
And then so my mom told my sister, she was like, you have to read the books before you watch the movies. And so what it was Reggie reads the books and then watches the movie. Reads the book and then watches the movie.
Yep.
And then it's so funny because she's like, that's not what's in the book. And I'm like, oh boy.
I just watched Order of the Phoenix like 2 weeks ago.
I've never seen it.
I've
only ever seen one.
I read half of the book and then decided that it wasn't worth it because that book is like thicker than the friggin' Bible and is nothing but exhibition. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Order of the Phoenix is nothing but exhibition. And so it's drug out and it's kind of boring. And I know that the end of Order of the Phoenix would be worth reading.
Okay.
Now that I've seen the movie, it would be worth reading at the end. But the middle was too hard for 14-year-old me to get through, and I'm just now getting back to the movies. Yeah, I'm putting Ready Player One on my watch list.
Good. Let's watch it.
I'm pretty sure it's on Max. In other news, HBO Max dropped the HBO title.
Yeah, because if you have HBO in your name, you're not gonna get any subscribers.
Oh, that's why no one was subscribing because of the HBO.
Yeah, HBO is apparently offensive now.
My bad, guys. You can't say HBO these days. These kids. Oh my god!
All right, give me your
number three. You ready?
Ready.
Ready? Nope. Number 3. Thor Ragnarok.
Favorite Marvel movie. That is my favorite Marvel movie.
I was not expecting to put a Marvel soundtrack on this list.
I wasn't expecting you to either, but I'm glad you did
because it's a Marvel soundtrack.
And everybody knows Marvel.
Everybody knows Marvel soundtracks. And I think that's why this one goes under the radar. and I'm going to look up the composer. I should have done my research more. That's okay. But this was a Mark Mothersbaugh?
Mothersbaugh, yeah.
Mark Mothersbaugh soundtrack.
Just Mothersbaugh.
Mothersbaugh. And Mark Mothersbaugh has done such a random array of soundtracks. He did Crude's The New Age.
Yep.
Oh, hold on. It goes further back. He did all of the Sims soundtracks.
Yep.
So like The Sims 2.
He did the Lego movie.
He did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. He did not do the Lego
movie 2.
Okay, the Lego movie 2, yeah.
All right, sorry, excuse me.
So,
Lego movie 2.
So he did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 Jump Street, Hotel Transylvania, the Lego movie 2, Cruise the New Age, The Mitchells versus the Machines, but also did Cocaine Bear. And
I love that movie.
And Thor Ragnarok, and
bro has a list of movies he's done.
I really appreciate the variety.
I think that is so funny. Imagine doing Crudes and then being asked to do Cocaine Bear.
They're like, we really love what you did with the Crudes the New Age.
Can you do this for Cocaine Bear?
Cocaine Bear? Yeah, Thor Ragnarok was, I think, what cemented me as a Marvel fan.
Yep.
That movie in general, I think I saw it for like my 15th birthday.
That one is
14th
my
birthday.
You can ask anybody. That is my favorite Marvel movie.
Well, that's also why I took it so hard when Marvel went downhill, because they made movies like Thor Ragnarok that are actually so
incredible.
solid. And
They let Taika Waititi
do whatever he wanted.
And it was beautiful.
And it was beautiful. And it was so good. And the soundtrack is like, it's like 80s, but it's not trying too hard.
Right.
In the sense of like, you know, the Mario movie had 80 songs, but I was like, why am I listening to Take On Me in the jungle? Like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. This one was kind of similar to if Guardians of the Galaxy had the same vibe as the soundtrack. The score is
But it was a score.
But it was a score.
Yeah.
It would be Ragnarok. And
It's amazing.
that's kind of why I like it, because
I'm so glad that's on your list.
it set the aesthetic so well.
It really did. It gives, I don't know how to say it, but Traveling Through the Bifrost is what the Thor Ragnarok soundtrack sounds like.
Yes. It's that good. And I know
Go Mothersbaugh.
I know that a soundtrack is good if I have to listen to it on the car ride home.
That's so true.
And that is
so
a
true.
soundtrack I listen to on the car ride home from the movie theater.
I listened to Thor Ragnarok on my drive to college. I literally put it on and put on the main title.
Right.
I can't really sing it. It's wacky, but it's incredible.
It is really good. Jeff Goldblum in his peak Goldblum,
It's also where peak Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston are just goofing around the whole time, and they're just having fun because they know their characters so well.
Right. And so it just, and then you get to Thor: Love and Thunder, which
don't talk to me about that movie. Don't talk to that. I watched that in a situation that was so just added to how bad the movie was.
oh my gosh, me too.
Yo!
I don't know if I want to say that. I'll say it. I got rejected by a girl on a Wednesday and then went and saw Thor Ragnarok with her that Friday.
It wasn't that bad for me, but it was with a girl. It was with
not
a girl.
not knowing that this would be the Marvel romance movie.
Yeah.
Went and saw it with a girl that rejected
between the
me.
hammers.
No, for real. I'm like, the sexual tension between these hammers is not okay. It's just, and so
Stormbreaker.
they were really like, I don't know. I think someone watched Ragnarok and said, people liked Korg, let's Korg up the next movie. And then they made Korg like suck and filled him with the movie. And
They ruined him. I mean, they didn't let Taika Waititi do what he wanted to with everybody.
Right.
Because I watched something about Thor Ragnarok, and apparently, like, 50% of the movie was like improvised,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just Taika and Chris and Tom all just
Like,
hanging out
trying to figure it out.
And they all figured it out together instead of Marvel being like, this is what we want you to push, this is what we want you to say. There was no freedom,
there was no direction,
there was no liberty.
Yeah, it
Where's America, huh?
So
Where's
I
America?
thought this was America. So yeah, soundtrack though for Ragnarok, amazing.
Yeah.
So 10 out of 10. I want the vinyl, but I cannot find
that's
it.
a W number 3.
I cannot find it. So yeah,
Nice.
there you go.
All right, so my number 2.
Number 2.
It's not super. Okay, let me preface this. This one, you will know it when I talk about it, but
Right.
not enough people talk about it because it just is incredible, and it's by somebody who everybody knows. You know Hans
Okay.
Zimmer? Yeah. Did you know he did Prince of Egypt?
Oh,
Prince of Egypt is my number 2. Yes. And allow me to give you the cast of the people that are in this that sang on the soundtrack. Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston did the Prince of Egypt opening.
oh my gosh.
And then also, on top of that, Michelle Pfeiffer sang in it.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And the acapella group Boys II Men,
Yeah.
yeah, they did an acapella thing for the end credits. They took a movie and got everybody. And then on top of it, you literally got, you know the song Plagues? Like, thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scored by Hans Zimmer. Incredible. Gives me
Amazing.
chills every time. I will belt All I Ever Wanted in my car. And nobody
Oh
talks
my
about it. Nobody
gosh.
talks about it. It is a stacked cast.
I have not seen the Prince of Egypt in like 10 years.
I watch it every year.
I think I own it, but I have not watched it in a long time. And I only recently learned like how big of a community that the Prince of Egypt has.
It has a community around it. Like, the thing is, this is so nostalgic for me. Funny story, because I was homeschooled all my life. And
No.
so, I know, right? In case you can't tell. And so at my co-op, we did a production of Deliver Us.
Deliver us.
Like, Deliver Us.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And so we did a production of that, but we sang it in Spanish. Because the Spanish classes all got together and we were like, what should we do? And then we were like, we should do Prince of Egypt in Spanish. And so instead of doing it in like Hebrew or like something cool, we did it in Spanish. And don't get me wrong, it was a great production. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but we did it in Spanish.
Do you remember how to say deliver us in Spanish?
Nope. I cannot tell you.
It's probably like deliver nos or whatever.
Delivero us. No, I'm not gonna say that. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
You already did.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Anyways, so Prince of
I also would like to say that the Prince of Egypt soundtrack is up on his Spotify right now, and every single song is liked.
Stop.
Every single song has a heart on it. Okay.
It's incredible. Through Heaven's Eyes, Goodbye Brother. That one makes me cry. It's when she's sending Moses down the river. It's so sad. Anyways, and also it's based off of obviously the whole Egyptian and
Right.
you know, Jewish captivity. And Hebrew captivity, same difference. I think it's just such a beautiful portrayal of the story, along with an incredible composer and incredible singers.
Like
Michelle Pfeiffer.
When was the last time we had a Bible movie with a cast like
with
that?
Whitney Houston
Yeah.
and Mariah Carey and Michelle Pfeiffer and Hans Zimmer?
When was the last time? Jeez, Whitney Houston has not been in a movie in a long time.
She hasn't. No. Besides her movie.
Right. Was she in her own
Nope.
movie? Oh. Is she alive?
I don't. Let me see.
I'm going to look like an absolute jerk here in just a minute. So I'm going to be like, whatever happened to Whitney Houston?
She died in 2012. Get up.
Why hasn't Whitney Houston done a movie in a long time? Probably because she died 11 years ago. Oh, sorry guys. Anywho,
They're probably watching it and just seeing us go through that and just be like, realize Whitney Houston is dead.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, she died in Beverly Hills in 2012.
Lucky. All right. So, yeah, when was the last time we had a big studio do a Bible movie with a cast like that? Ever?
I don't think I think that's why Prince of Egypt is so attractive to even not like non-Christian people.
Right.
Because their own people are like they're like, oh my goodness, these famous people are doing it, and then they see it and like, this is just such a good story.
Right.
Because it's portrayed accurately.
Right.
And you're talking about how animation's only for kids. My dad watches this movie and he loves it.
Mm-hmm.
It's animation's not for kids.
No.
It's for everyone.
No. I think, man, Prince of Egypt is just one of those like 1 in a million movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to do what they did again. I
have yet to see them do what they did again.
I don't think they will. I don't think there's no reason for someone to do it unless they can get a similar cast like that, and I don't think you can.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, especially in a climate like this.
Yeah, the
like,
content creation
it's
climate here
harder
is
to
crazy.
I mean, it's kind of like career suicide to hop on a Bible movie.
That's
at
so
this
true.
Point.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's interesting.
Oscar Isaac though, he did Joseph.
No, that's true. Yeah.
And now look at him.
Now look at him. What a man.
Fantastic actor. Anyways, give me your number 2.
Number 2.
Love
Ready?
it.
So, this is not an underrated. So when I say this, you will think that's not underrated.
It's not underrated at all.
Let me preface. I'm going to say Inception. Underrated soundtrack because Time is Hans Zimmer's most popular song.
It's an incredible song.
And it is amazing. Time is an amazing song, but you also have to look at the soundtrack as a whole and understand that it needs some more respect.
Yep.
Time is good, but Dream Within a Dream,
such a good one.
Waiting on a Train, We Built Our Own World, Dream is Collapsing.
Gives me chills every time.
Stop. That is phenomenal. So when you think of Inception, you probably wouldn't think that's an underrated soundtrack.
It's not an underrated movie though.
It's not an underrated movie. No, I think a lot of people kind of appreciate Inception for how good it is because it is phenomenal.
It's like an Interstellar type deal.
Right. It's one of those like film bros. This is like one of those few movies, and I guess Christopher Nolan just does that to people.
So true.
Is like if you just. It's one of those movies that the film bros and the general public all can just agree that they're well done.
They're just like, yeah, this is great.
And I'm learning that if you make a movie that not even you understand, no one can criticize it. So if you take nothing away from this episode, if you want your work to be uncriticizable, make it illegible.
Boom.
Booyah. Take that. Before we go into our number ones, I need to hit some honorable mentions.
I've got 2 really good honorable mentions.
Really?
Yeah.
I have 7.
I can come up with some real fast. I can do more. I can do more. It's okay. Oh my gosh. You said, yeah, we'll have a few honorable mentions. Has 7.
7.
I had 2. All right. I got 2.
You can hit me with 2.
I'm gonna give you another war movie.
All right.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Never seen it.
Andrew Garfield takes this movie.
I like lasagna.
What?
It's Garfield.
Oh my goodness. I actually used to read that a lot.
Garfield?
Yeah.
I'm more of a Calvin and Hobbes man.
That's also true.
Yeah.
My older brother had a big book of Garfield.
Oh, I have all of the collections of Calvin and Hobbes over there.
That's so amazing.
Anyway, Hacksaw Ridge. Do you want to talk about Garfield or Hacksaw Ridge?
I'm talking about Hacksaw Ridge over here.
I'd rather talk about Garfield.
Okay. Well, for those of you who have seen Hacksaw Ridge, Jackson, you can leave.
Sorry.
you guys will know the scene that I'm talking about when he's saying, "Lord, give me one more, give me one more, give me one more," because he's trying to save everybody on that Hacksaw Ridge. It's that Battle of Okinawa.
Right.
Okinawa.
Right.
Whatever it's called.
You know what I'm talking about.
And so he's the only person left up on the ridge besides all of the other soldiers who are wounded, bleeding out, just like. And the thing is, he's saving people and literally setting them down a cliff with, but like not like sending them down, but like lowering them down with a rope. And it's incredible because he saved, I forget how many people he saved, but he saved like over 100 something. And
oh my gosh.
The soundtrack for this is incredible because it's calm, but it adds to the eeriness of the moment because he is trying to save people and bring them and lower them down back to the bottom of the cliff where the rest of his army is without getting killed by a bunch of Japanese.
Yeah.
And I think that is crazy because he just first off, he's praying the whole time. And if you ever watch a interview with Sergeant Desmond Doss, he's still alive, I think. Because like during the making of the movie, he was like there talking with Andrew Garfield. So because Andrew Garfield obviously is a fantastic actor,
right?
But it's scored so well, and I don't think anybody can take a movie and with that much gravity, kind of like 1917. I don't think anybody can do what they did with Hacksaw Ridge because it was perfect. The way that while he was trying to save everybody, the music was slowly going under him. It was kind of like a pulse, keeping him alive while also letting other people know there's other people alive.
Interesting.
And it's amazing. Light strings in there sometimes. And it's incredible because like he's running around and trying to save people in the dark with people trying to kill him at the same time.
Yeah.
And what's also really admirable is he saves a Japanese person.
Aww.
Because he's wounded. And he's like, oh shoot, I did not mean to.
I need to watch this movie.
You need to watch
I've never seen it. I'm not a war movie kind of guy. I'm a
big war movie guy.
That's not my that's usually not my cup of tea. Like if I sit down and watch a movie, I'm not like, you know what sounds so good right now? 1917. They're kind of hard to stomach.
See, the thing is, they are hard to stomach, but I love movies that are just like, yeah, your forefathers did this for you.
Right.
Like, it's like that's crazy. Like my great grandfather fought in World War II. Crazy.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, but if a war happened right now, my major would not do much for the war.
Right.
What am I supposed to do? Serenade the enemy?
I could be a conflict photographer, but I don't have the guts. So
running through that.
Right.
I don't think you're gonna be able to do that.
Even in 2023, there's some incredible conflict photographers that I could never do what they do, and I have so much respect for them.
Yeah. I just think with the story of Hacksaw Ridge and the way they scored it, it's kind of like how you can tell if you're mature. The difference between a mature musician and a not mature musician is a mature musician knows when not to play. A not mature musician plays whenever he wants. But when you know not to play, that means you're a mature, very seasoned musician.
I just pictured Will Arnett on Arrested Development, where he was just like, "Behold, a seasoned magician."
So that's one of my honorable mentions. It was gonna be on my top 5, but I had 1917 on it.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna.
You got to choose one. Yeah. What's the second one?
Second one is Father of the Bride.
Yes. Yes.
I just think it is so funny because here, wait, let me pull this thing up. It's so funny because the main title has church bells in it.
Yes, it does.
And it's amazing.
The soundtrack, so good.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah. It's incredible. So along with the whole movie, obviously, I just think the soundtrack takes the lightheartedness of the movie, but also takes the gravity of the movie.
Right.
And sticks it all. And like we said,
it lands the plane.
And audibles it.
It lands.
Makes it audible.
Yeah.
So those are my 2. Let me hear your 7.
I have 7 honorable mentions. I won't go too far. Some of them I didn't include for obvious reasons. Some of them were just not underrated enough for me to put it in the list.
Yeah.
Weathering with You is an anime movie we talk on this podcast about almost every episode because I cannot sing its praises high enough. It is still one of the best movies I've ever seen. Soundtrack is phenomenal.
That's so
I have some of the songs in my playlist. Those are the only anime songs I'll ever listen to.
Really? That's so funny.
The original SpongeBob movie has some incredible songs. If you turn on Goofy Goober Rock and I'm in the room, it's going down. I'm getting turned to Goofy Goober Rock, all right? And Now That We're Men, I sing Now That We're Men so often. The Super Mario Brothers movie, like the new one, it's not underrated, but I wanted to take a second to appreciate the soundtrack.
Yeah. No, that was good. It was good.
Peaches deserves the Oscar. It deserves it.
Jack Black.
Black deserves the Oscar. Truly.
As writer and actor.
Yes, legend. I said Lemonade Mouth, which is objectively the greatest Disney Channel original movie ever made. It is technically a musical, so I wasn't going to put it on here. But I've had the soundtrack playing these last few weeks. I love Lemonade Mouth. And Lemonade Mouth is it's just not away from Disney Channel, like not even compared to a Disney Channel original movie, is just a good movie.
So true.
So... Yeah. I would also say John Wick deserves more.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
It deserves more recognition. And because I really like John Wick doesn't do the standard like intense action movie soundtracks. Mm-hmm. They do like dubstep while he's like just destroying these armies of dudes. So highly, dude, so good. The dubstep in John Wick 4. Amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Cool. Really good. Wasn't underrated enough to make top 5, but I think the soundtrack sounds like the movie looks.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like it sounds like this like quirky like farm life. That's how I will describe it.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Ratatouille.
I was waiting for that one.
Ratatouille.
I was waiting for that one.
My favorite movie of all time.
Gotta have Ratatouille in there.
It's not underrated. It's really not.
It's not.
I think a lot of people really appreciate the Ratatouille soundtrack. But also, Le Festin is phenomenal. But it's not... I don't think it's the best song on the soundtrack.
Should I tell my story about
I think you should tell your story about
it. So,
this is good. This is good.
So I was on the plane to Florida to go visit my grandpa and hang out with my dad. And I had a middle seat. And to the left was this really, really, really cute French girl. She was super cute.
Oh my God.
And so obviously me naturally being the Rizzler, I'm just kidding. I just started talking with her. And then I found out she goes to like Lipscomb, which is like an hour or two away from the university we go to. And I'm like, dude, I want to get to know this person. She's cool. She's also hot. And so I like talked to her. I'm like, so like where are you from? And she's a missions kid who grew up in France because her parents run some art missions thing in France. And I was like, well, I'm like writing some music and for a future project, and it might involve France or something like that. And I'm like, what are some things that like only a tourist wouldn't know? Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, no, it's like there's a really, really cool things where it's like underground, just like music bars. There's like not even like a bar, you just play music. And I was like, that is so cool. Isn't that sick?
That is amazing.
And then I got talking about Ratatouille with her, and she quoted the whole Le Festin movie to me in French and translated it. It is a deep song.
Yeah.
It is a deep song. And then she also shared some Cheez-Its with me. Ellie, if you're out there, hit up a bro. Oh, just hit me up, all right? So that's her name. I don't know her last name.
Ellie French.
Ellie
French.
No,
if
her
you're
name
out
isn't
here-
French. Ellie, who is French. I'm Gavin. Just like let me know. I will just. All right.
Just hit me up.
Just hit me up. I'm on Instagram, Gavin_Copco. Just slide in those DMs. So that's my story about Layfest.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry
That's
for that
good.
rabbit trail.
No, that's so funny. Yeah, my last honorable mention is Home, which is a DreamWorks movie with Jim Parsons and Rihanna and Jennifer Lopez. Hello.
Yep.
I didn't know if it was good enough to make the list, but
It's good enough.
Towards the Sun by
Turn
Rihanna.
your
Amazing. Towards the sun, let the shadows. And then another Rihanna song, I Want to Dance in the Dark.
Come on.
I want to light up the night. And then
Come on.
Drop That by Jacob Plant is so
hard.
aggressively EDM.
It's so good.
And it goes so well with the movie because you're just like, what am I watching?
It's me and my sister watched this consistently when it first came out. It is like the movie that bonds me and her. It's so funny.
We still my family quotes Home so many like can I come into
The shusher.
The shusher. Can I come into the out now?
Yeah.
He's like slushiest. That's just a fire movie.
I was debating about naming my car the Slushies. That would have been funny.
Oh, that's good. I always say if we're playing Fortnite, I always say, as your king, it is my duty to run away first.
I have heard you say that before.
That's a good movie. Don't. And
Good
then,
movie.
Feel the light shining in the dark at night. Remember what we forgot. I know it's a long shot.
I will get lit to those songs. I will go
Dude.
crazy.
That's good.
If Drop That plays at my wedding, I will be dropping that.
I will be dropping that. Yeah. One time, this is so quick, such a quick story. I was at a wedding of our friend David. He was on Coffee Time. If you were an OG that remembers.
Shout
Coffee
out
Time.
to David. He shot our EP.
Yes, EP promo.
promo pictures.
Go David.
I love him.
I was invited to David's wedding. Horrible decision, but
Really?
yeah. Oh, I was at his wedding.
Oh, horrible decision that he invited you.
Horrible decision that he
Oh,
invited
I thought you were
me.
like a horrible decision that you went. I was like, what?
No, yeah, he should not have invited me, but I was so grateful that he did. And when the song Wobble came on, the Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby.
wobble.
We all went so hard on Wobble.
no.
I had back problems for a week because we wobbled so hard. It was really funny. I also did the entire Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rap at his wedding.
I'm not surprised.
And so, there you go. Those are my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
It's time for number one.
All right. So this movie that I have
All right?
is not an underrated movie.
Right.
It is a fantastic movie. Okay.
Yep.
It is perhaps one of the greatest movies of 2006. Besides Over the Hedge. Over the Hedge came out in 2006 too. No, probably one of the greatest movies of 2000, of the early 2000s, and that's Night at the Museum.
Wow. Night at the Museum.
Night at the Museum.
Zam.
Zam.
Night at the Museum. Why do you say it like that?
Museum.
What? Museum.
Museum. Maybe it's the Jersey in me. I don't know.
Museum.
Museum.
It's not a museum.
It's a museum. Oh my goodness.
Museum.
Museum. But museum.
There you go.
No, that's disgusting. Civil War soldiers. Where's Rexy? Tracking Dear Boy. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Hit me with it.
A Great Man.
Booyah.
That's playing when Teddy Roosevelt is talking to him. Incredible. Night at Museum takes that movie, takes the soundtrack. The score for that is incredible. If you guys don't listen to it, go listen to it. I need you to listen to it, okay? It is incredible. And it really takes the different sounds of each country that he visits and puts it into the score.
That's amazing.
And it's underappreciated for its score. Because thinking about, I want you guys to think about Night at the Museum. Do you think about the score? No.
No.
No, you think
I think
about
of Ben
like
Stiller.
Yeah, Ben Stiller and
Robert,
Dumb Where's Gum Gum.
And Robin Williams.
I think it's Robin Williams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Owen Wilson.
Isn't he Teddy Roosevelt? Robin
Yes,
Williams?
he's Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah. And Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
As the cowboy.
That's fire. That's a fire movie.
Fire cast.
I
fire
never
movie,
think about the soundtrack though.
But you never think about sound, and that's why that is the most underrated soundtrack in my mind.
Fascinating. Interesting.
W movie, famous movie, not a famous soundtrack. And also, you know who did it? Alan Silvestri.
Booyah. All right. That's a good pick. I never would have expected that.
Thank you.
I never would have expected that.
I'm so glad that you like that.
All right. Number 1 for me.
Give it to me. I'm so excited.
It has been my favorite soundtrack
Oh,
since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
But I very, very rarely hear anyone talk about it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I feel like just because I've loved it for so long, but I've never felt like it was appreciated because it's in a movie that isn't necessarily amazing.
Oh.
And
I went the total opposite way.
Really?
With Night at the Museum, I went the total opposite way. The movie's amazing.
No, yeah. So this is an amazing soundtrack that's in a movie that I don't think is necessarily peak cinema.
Oh.
And that is Tron Legacy.
I hated that movie.
Yeah.
I did not like that movie at all.
That movie is just okay.
It's okay, not just okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I will give a shoulder shrug to that movie. I'm sorry, Tron Legacy.
So my dad loves the original Tron movie.
I'm sure that one's great.
The original one is kind of hard to watch because it was pretty new in computer graphics.
Oh, I know. That's number 1.
So Tron Legacy, though.
Who is it by?
Hold on. So I recommend watching it to get an opinion.
Okay, yeah.
But it's kind of like one of those like
it didn't have anything driving it forward.
No.
The plot wasn't interesting.
No.
The actors were mid. No offense.
Yeah, no, you're right.
If I like a movie, I will remember who the actors are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know remember who the actors are.
Who was the Star-Lord's dad in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Once again, he didn't do a good job apparently. So.
Whoa. Is it? It's not Kurt Russell. Hold on.
let's Google this guy.
Hold on. Tron Legacy. They're making a second one now. They're working on it. It was Jeff Bridges. That's who I was thinking of.
He was what, an Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was probably the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
So Tron Legacy, it's okay. As a movie,
the
it's
movie's okay.
They're doing a ride at Disney World that I'm really excited about.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
a
that.
light cycle thing. Which that's the cool part is the light cycles. But it was one of those like live action Disney movies in the earlier
2010, I think.
2010. I thought it was 2014. No, it's 2010. It's a lot earlier than I thought.
Boom.
So it's like one of those 2010 like live action Disney movies.
Yeah.
Wasn't amazing, but the soundtrack is by Daft Punk, which is the greatest French duo ever.
He loves Daft Punk. Before we started filming this dude said, "Listen to this version of the Daft Punk song."
Yes. Listen. The reason I'm obsessed with Daft Punk is because of Tron Legacy.
Okay.
Because that was my first exposure to Daft Punk was
and honestly
the soundtrack.
You can tell how good a movie is if the only redeeming quality of it is the score.
Right.
And I think that's so funny.
It's kind of funny.
Because that's what brought you to it.
Yes, that's what brought me. And
that's so great.
A lot of people are saying, oh, that's just an okay movie. And so they miss the phenomenal soundtrack. If you listen to The Grid by Daft Punk, I have it on vinyl over here, okay? It has audio from the movie, and it goes so hard. And it's just like... I also recommend the The Daft Punk remix version is... Oh my gosh, you're destroying my shelf. Yes, I have it on vinyl.
This guy's got it on vinyl.
Yeah, so,
That's so funny.
the highly recommend Overture, The Grid, The Game Has Changed, End of Line. I also really recommend the Tron Legacy Reconfigured, where Daft Punk did remixes of all of the songs that they composed.
They're just remixing their own
They remixed
stuff.
their own
That's
songs.
so baller. They are incredible.
So
They're incredible by themselves anyway.
No, absolutely. And I think that's why the soundtrack carries so well, because it wasn't... They're not known for soundtracks. They're just a band.
Right.
And so I think
Incredible
that
deal.
was so smart to give it such a unique and distinct sound. And they chose the exact right people for that sound.
It's not the exact right writers.
Just not the right writer. And so Tron Legacy, the soundtrack is amazing, but Tron Legacy Reconfigured is what Daft Punk would have done if they were just releasing the songs as songs instead of for the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So I also just saw, my heart stopped a second, the Random Access Memories 10th Anniversary Edition came out, and I missed that somehow.
What?
Yes. There's like 9 new songs on it.
I know what he's going to be listening
Oh
to.
my
for the next,
gosh,
like,
dude. Random
hour.
Access Memories is my Desert Island album. That's awesome.
That's fun.
Anyway, hey, there you go.
There's my
underrated
top 5 and
soundtracks.
2 honorable mentions. There's his top 5 and 7 of
There's
honorable
my
mentions.
12 underrated soundtracks for you.
That is
I was
fun.
laying in bed this morning like, oh shoot, I gotta make my list. And then I was like, honorable mentions. That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. So,
Oh
man,
my goodness.
what a good time. What a good
This was
episode.
fun. This was a lot
Good
of fun.
food friends times. And I'm glad you're here. I'm happy to be here. If you see Nick in the wild, please.
Nick Wilde?
Nick Wild? If you see Nick in the wild, let us know, because we
Yeah.
we found him. We made him play Monopoly, and then he ran away again. And so I think he's playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Not surprised.
God only knows. I think he found a different cave. But while you're here, thank you so much for listening to this
Thank
episode.
you.
Make sure you follow on Instagram at The Nerdiest Podcast, on YouTube at The Nerdiest Podcast, and make sure you follow Jackson Glass, GLAS, on
Dude,
Spotify.
Follow it.
Spotify on Apple Podcast.
June
Apple
9th.
Music. June 9th, freshman year
Freshman
part 1.
year part 1 is coming out.
Gavin_Copco on
Yes.
Instagram.
K-O-P-K-O.
K-O-P-K-O.
I
Good
once
stuff.
got a coffee mug that said C-O-P-C-O. And I was like, what? Sapso.
Sapso. Gavin, thank you for joining us today.
Dude, totally.
It was a good time. We'll have you back.
This was a lot of fun.
I'm glad we got to do another in-person episode for
Isn't that so
the
fun?
Nerdiest Podcast.
I'm so glad that this happened.
I'm so glad it was in person. We hope to see you on the next episode. Until next time, peace out.
Deuces.